learn all this kind of technical stuff, because by today also we're going to work on that. Okay, the thing that I want to share with you guys for today, okay, even though we're not going to work with digital yet, okay, but I want to show you guys the methods, okay, how it works there basically from here. Okay, for example, right now, they're right. Let me check this. Okay. From what we actually have been go through before, okay, the thing is right now, when people actually start to draw something from any reference, okay, this moment there, okay, remember what I actually have been go through with you guys, okay, for the second week. We draw faces, we draw hands, but using the contour line drawings there, okay. That contour line drawing, basically, we are not going to be used naively or straight ahead on those kind of way of working with your technical stuff later on, by using only that kind of styles only or skills that to develop those, because those are the one of the exercise that will develop basically your kind of routine. Those are the things that we want to do, because a lot of people, when they actually go through with different kind of subject matters, for example, they're right, they start to draw a human character based on those gesture drawings that we call that, right. You're supposed to combine those techniques all together, gestures drawing and contour line drawings together, to develop that kind of basic structures and stroke on those human figures there, or any kind of subject matters that you want to draw later on. You're going to apply the same thing, all right? We're not talking about like, because a lot of people, when they start to draw, okay, they always start to draw like this one. My bad there, right? You always start to draw like this one back again. I want to emphasize more, okay, to be clear to you guys, okay, that we don't want you guys, okay, we want to avoid, basically, not only don't want, okay, basically it's big kind of like very hard kind of what we call that, and also very not cruel kind of what we call that words there, okay, but basically that's reality there, guys. I really work hard enough for to develop this kind of understanding to the students, that if you really want to develop basically or improve your drawing skills, because right now when I draw that, okay, I draw based on my kind of understanding and experience there. So that's why when you look at it back again, it looked like I don't have any kind of problem issue to handle basically the proportions well, right? Okay, because I already know how it works. But it takes basically me a very long time to develop all this kind of understanding, that it's not all about you complete the third week kind of exercise, you should actually close all those kind of books again, okay, and you start to figure out how to make new things in the following, okay. You're going to bring over all this kind of knowledge back again. But one other thing that we have to avoid is try to draw like this, by not controlling again your kind of hands when you draw, and you will go back into your old routines, okay, your old routine, right, okay, your old kind of habits when you draw. Even though when you saw someone can draw like this, quite nice, for example, okay, but they have developed that kind of knowledge and understanding, okay, in their mind first, okay, when they develop that kind of drawings there. But right now, we try to coordinate first. We try to connect first between what we saw, we keep in the mind, and then we start to draw based on what we saw only. A lot of people always give this word for me, okay, I think I have to think about shapes there, right? I think that what shape that I have to draw there, right? So those kind of words that always been will control basically your mind, that you saw every single thing that you want to draw in front of you as a part of those difficulties there, right? That you don't know where to move and when you start that. So before we're going to go to with any technical kind of stuff there, right, okay, that we have to draw based on 8 heads by 7 heads of figures there, right, okay, to develop that kind of proportions, I want to just explain back again to you guys what basically I saw when I want to draw any kind of subject in this world there, right, okay, any kinds of subjects there, right. For example, I have my own face over here back again. I want to show you guys basically what exactly I saw basically on my drawings over here. Okay, when I actually start to draw someone or something there, okay, a lot of people are going to take this kind of understanding there, right, okay, they start to figure out those line work. Yes, of course, you have to transfer all these kind of elements into, from line into shapes. All right, into shapes here. You're going to learn this one basically in our introduction to art there, right? Shapes there. There's geometric shapes. They are going to be what we call that organic kind of shapes there. Okay, so we kind of like transfer everything into shapes here, okay? Because when you design the characters in the futures for any animated or comic kind of what we call that illustration works here, you're going to start to develop your characters into that kind of specific kind of shapes there that can be recognizable, okay, without you adding enough kind of detailing there. For example, there, okay, when I want to draw myself as a character, for example, okay, I don't have to draw every single details, right? But when I actually draw something like this, okay, some of you guys love to draw this kind of hands, okay? For example, okay, because we design characters, we can be any other shape, okay? You know basically who actually the person is, right? Okay? When I draw a very simple kind of not quite proportionate kind of what we call design, okay? You know basically who actually this character is. The same thing, okay, when you want to look at things before you're going to draw first, especially when you want to train yourself to develop that kind of gestures, kind of skills there. All right, you have to figure it out that first how it works there, right? Those are the things, because a lot of what we call that methods that you have to develop along the way to develop your design sense there, okay? From line into shapes, shape into textures, textures into colors and form, value, tone and space there, okay? All those kind of elements you're going to develop all together there, okay? In order to develop your design senses. Okay? Not only we learn about how to move, to draw correctly, okay? Or you learn to develop the kind of proportionate in the right way at the same time, okay? I want to tell you guys this one, okay? How actually I coordinate my eyes together when I start to draw these contour line drawings that combine with the gestures line at the same time there, okay? First of all, why basically this kind of exercise is so important, okay? Until I actually push you guys to develop an understanding all over again there, okay? Because if you don't actually look all the things that you want to draw from now on as a subject matters there, as an element of design there, okay? You will look at all this kind of stuff as a part of difficulties there, right? It's hard there, right? Okay, you are going to what we call that make your mind control your actions there. That's why you have to think all the time, and you cannot basically focus while you draw. You cannot focus there, because the thing that you're not focused is not about how actually you're going to use to work on that. What kind of shape that you're going to produce there. You have to use whatever that you saw in front of you to develop that shapes, to create that shape back again. All right, these are the things that I actually saw there again. We call the analytical kind of line drawings, which is whatever that we saw from the first thing that we want to start to put our hands when you draw the right, like this, for example, the right, but not controlling press too much the right. Just relax the right. It's like you comb your hair, you not actually stress it out the right. But the thing is, right now, you don't start to develop only shapes there, but you create basically, some people say textures, but I say those kind of line basically there, right? To create the form at the same time there, right? I'm going to use whatever that I saw in my eyes, on my eyes, from my eyes there, okay? To develop that kind of understanding during the process of drawings here. So can you actually saw right now, okay, I actually doesn't think too much when I draw, and I don't have any worry there, right? I just go through with my hands and line together. At the same time, I'm controlling basically my pressure strokes there, right? It look like that we just draw a map, a contour kind of map on the faces there, right? But the value of this exercise were not about just messing around with a human face or any subject matter that you want to draw. It's not about messing around there. From this kind of exercise, basically, you learn basically the analytical kind of understanding to figure out how basically those kind of shapes will give you more kind of informations later on when you want to start to draw using basically any drawing techniques there, okay? We want to figure it out, okay? Oh, how basically the shapes of the shadow are going to be affected, the form of those, what we call that, faces there, or a forehead there basically. How big basically the eyes there, okay? And also how round is it, the curve, that formation of those eyes, and also the bottom of those eyes there, okay? The eye bag there basically there, okay, that we maybe you call from there, right? Okay? And we are not actually trying to trace, or maybe we want to just render them up randomly there, okay? To add all those kind of what we call that perfect kind of drawings of it. Even though when you want to draw those nose there, okay? From this exercise that you actually been working on for the second week there, right? It's all about to get to understand about how the shapes are going to be look like, and then later on, when you start to draw using those kind of sketching techniques, drawings there, okay? You are going to start to figure out, oh, the shapes of this beard are going to be look a bit more like this. I have to change the way that I have to draw those line for those beard are going to be a bit more curvy, more wavy kind of strokes there, right? So from here, basically, you develop that kind of understanding slowly there, okay? But they're going to give you more effective kind of sense of concern, sensitivity, understanding about how the shapes that you're going to draw will look like when it comes to drawing later on. This is basically our way of analyzing the shapes before we draw the right. And we try to solve some of the problems during basically those kind of contour line exercise there. A lot of people always thought, okay, oh, I will learn, that's why you actually develop a lot of drawings, but you still keep doing the same mistake there, right? Because one of the reason you don't learn from any process that you've been go through. You just keep on working with the thing that you know only in your mind. that you thought is right, but basically, obviously, it's wrong. Okay, this is basically that I saw in every single object that I'm going to draw. Whether I'm going to draw, for example, like humans, or I want to draw animals, for example, they're right. Any kind of subject matters that I want to draw, right? Before we're going to go to those kind of details, okay? Because this week, basically this week on the lecture class, I don't want to give notes, but I want to give more demos there, okay? Because it's really important for you guys to understand that here. If you saw, basically, I gave these kind of pictures for you there, okay? But when I draw them, in these photos here, I did not basically trace them on top of the layers. If you watch those videos there, right? But I actually, right, draw them back using the same technique that I show you guys. Okay? But I draw the gestures line and also the contour line very, very carefully and slowly there, right? I did not basically rush out when I draw them. Okay, so this is what I saw basically for these photos here, for this reference over here. Okay, we have the reference over here. Let me save the file first. Because this exercise, guys, if you start to work with, if you start to have your tablet, okay, because next week, okay, I want to remind you guys, next week, we're going to use a full kind of advantage on these tablets there. So anyone who actually have bought this tablet, you guys can practice with this kind of line drawing first, okay, just to test basically your pressure and strokes there, right? So this is what I saw from the drawings that I did basically last week, right? Where is it here? Okay, this is the one there, right? Okay. But of course, right, I didn't actually add a lot of detail, but the contour line that I produced over here give that kind of experience for me to study the subject matters without tracing on top of it. But how actually I look all these kind of things back again, what came from the same kind of development and experience there, right? But I draw it slowly there, okay? I didn't think too much about the shapes there, guys, when I draw. I didn't think about all this kind of detailing on the fur, on the line, because what I draw right now, okay, I just use basically my kind of intuition and also understanding based on what I saw to develop basically those kind of structures of contour for these German Shepherd kind of dogs there, right? Okay. Every single detail that I can study, right, okay, that I can actually study them back, I will try to figure it out while I draw using this method. But by the same times, okay, what are the things that I can actually develop, okay, from those lines, okay, like a fur line, strokes, okay, but not every single fur kind of what we call the hairline that I can produce there, right? I will try to figure it out during the process there. But I let my hands move smoothly to those structures at the same time, right? This is what I saw there, okay? And at the same time, okay, if I have a little bit kind of understanding on this animal kind of what we call this kind of animal kind of structures, the anatomies there, okay, I will use them also to get more kind of to give more advantage for my kind of understanding here at the same times. Okay, this is what I saw there, guys, with my eyes when I draw. But I'm using my hands to move. I didn't think a lot how difficult that I have to solve this problem to look a bit more realistic about the fur line, the strokes, there, right? Okay, that actually going to be affected basically the whole areas of these subjects, there, right? Even though we far beyond of learning the anatomies, right? Okay, but from here I can actually, right, develop both kind of understanding, right? Okay, even though it's not that quite details there, but we still can develop that kind of understanding during the process of drawing these creatures. But not just simply draw without looking at the logic and details there at the same times. It's not all about just tracing them and then you feel good about it and you close the books there, right? It's all about develop that kind of learning experience and understanding how to control your hands and eyes together without thinking too much about, hey, how actually I'm going to draw these shapes there, okay? What kind of shape did I draw? That's why a lot of people's, I don't know where they get these ideas from, right? They keep doing something that they don't understand while they draw. They don't understand really what they draw, but they still keep doing the same thing there. Remember what I asked some of you guys, okay? I didn't teach you guys to draw like that, okay? I didn't start with this kind of line. I didn't start with this kind of shape there, okay? There is nothing that we can actually develop from here because it shows obviously that you don't understand while you draw there, okay? This is some of the common things that happens there, okay? Remember what I told you guys, okay? All these references that I gave you guys were basically only a guideline, not just to use them without develop your kind of purpose, okay? Why actually you have to draw like this? Why you have to draw using the shapes there, okay? Ask this kind of questions there every time when you draw. Don't just simply draw without have that kind of understanding while you draw them. This is something that a lot of people do when they draw. When they start to draw the right, this is something that obviously most people will actually make the mistakes while they draw. When I ask you guys to look at your subject matters while you draw, even though I'm stuck with this kind of shapes over here, when I draw them, right? Okay. Look at back again and how actually I develop that kind of line and stroke all together when I draw that, right? Not just simply draw someone like this. What is this? And then you start to draw other things there, right? What is this there, guys? Some people draw, they start like this one there, right? What is this there, guys? Can you answer me there? Okay? Can you actually explain what is it? Of course, you want to draw human face there, okay? You saw any of this line from here using your kind of, let's just say you want to use your imagination, okay? But where this line come from, right? Okay, where is it? I don't see that. I don't see any kind of line over there. Even though you want to draw 10-second drawing, for example, there, right? 10-second drawings there. My 10-second drawing, for example, look like this? No. Because what actually we try to draw the basic structures that develop those kind of positions, angles, right? And the directions of those line that connected with those structures of those faces in the most closest and effective and correct way there, okay? We try to imitate that kind of understanding there while we draw. Not just simply think the shape inside your head and then you assume, oh, they're going to be look like this, maybe. They're going to be. We are not trying to assuming that, guys. We're not trying to imagine like the shapes that whatever that you saw in front of you, you draw them. Either you're going to do those gestures line drawing here, okay? Check back again the shapes over here. Take a look carefully there at the shapes there, right? When you draw. Even though you want to draw the circle line for it, okay, what are the diagonal line that actually form basically the shapes over here? What kind of basics, kind of primitive shapes that they appear with this kind of neck there, right? But if you look back again, how actually I control my hands when I draw, I didn't press too much there. I use the contour line drawing to move the strokes there. That's how I combine them there again. I draw those contour. A lot of people suddenly they draw something like this, right? I never teach them to draw like this, right? Yet. So when you try to do something that you don't understand there right here, which is I didn't actually give any kind of details. Why you have to follow everything in my class directly? You have to enter directly. If you don't trust basically the process that I actually giving you guys over here, why you should actually be here directly if you don't actually following basically the thing that we taught you guys. And you still keep doing those kind of mistakes because you don't try to follow basically. You're not following basically the methods that I show. You keep doing the same old habits that you draw before. You learn by yourself before, and you thought that you find quite understandable there, but you still keep doing the mistakes there. Right? You're not actually going anywhere from there, but you still keep doing that. Right? Same goes to what happens to, or some people actually want to talk about all the situation that we have there, right? We're not going anywhere, the numbers still increase. Because we still, they still keep doing the same thing, for example, there again. Same goes to your situations there, guys. You still keep doing the same wrong thing, and you not actually make some changes there again to develop that kind of understanding there first. That's basically why you don't see any improvement from there. You keep doing whatever that you do, how many drawings that you draw, you always think when you draw. You not actually look when you draw. All right? You not actually look at you draw. Right? You don't actually look with your eyes there. You look at your mind. You understand what I mean? When you look at your mind, you imagine what you draw, not you looking carefully, okay, how actually the shapes are going to be developed using your hands while you draw. You not actually trust basically the thing that you saw. You trust from your mind there, right? You always try, because this is basically the things that happens a lot with a lot of people there, right? I get these ideas, okay? I didn't actually learn all this kind of stuff before basically same goes like you guys here. But when I get these ideas, okay, simple kind of words there, just draw from what you see. I'm not saying that, right? Equation from what I've seen, cos, tangent, right? 100 times whatever there, okay, 200 tangent times blah blah blah. They're becoming like whatever that we want to draw. This is not the mathematic formulas there, okay, that I also doesn't good at it, okay. I'm talking about, I'm not good at maths, okay. I'm not good at those calculations, like all this kind of fancy kind of stuff there. If you thought that, oh, what I'm talking about is quite very confusing, not understandable, I try to use a very simple words. Okay, just draw something from what you see, and trust your hands to draw them the right. Because whatever that you have in mind will come back into this, not into this one, right? If you say, oh, my hands cannot follow my whatever that I saw, sir, okay, come back into whatever you think right now. You should control. Our mind only used to control where we're going to look, not how we're going to draw, where we're going to look. We control our mind, okay? And control our hands together, okay? You look at this one, you look at these shapes over here, right? You look at the hair shapes there, right? Then you draw basically the textures on the hair there, okay? To formations of those lines together there, right? You ask your hands to follow basically your eyes when you draw. Okay? Don't worry about what kind of shape that you want. If you worry there, okay, then you think. When you think, then you cannot doing right. Because when you think, oh, how actually I'm going to draw the eyes of this eye shape? Okay, draw like this lah. Okay, draw like this. They become something else there, right? They become something that you're not understandable, but you keep doing it. You keep doing this thing that you don't understand. Because why? Because you think about that kind of shapes. Otherwise, when you start to draw there, right? Using that kind of this exercise, you don't need to think there, right? You just follow basically what you saw. You can see obviously very clear the shapes, the shadows, the textures there, okay? And whatever that you're going to do, you just follow basically what you should draw them back. Okay, this one basically we're using Photoshop and layers basically to work on that. Right? It's just like a trace there, right? But from this exercise that we did right now, we don't figure it out yet, okay, how to render and draw the structures there, okay, or drawing basically those kind of etching kind of techniques there, okay, to sketch the line here. We're not actually working on that. What we try to do, get the right kind of contour there first. That's all, to train our hands there and to develop that kind of understanding at the same time. This is something that people always have that kind of difficulty to follow there, right? Even though you're not drawing from those tracings, you still can actually use your eyes there to draw, to draw the movements there, right? And without worrying about, okay, when you worry, okay, oh, my drawing are going to be singing a little bit, okay, I'm worried about that. When you worry that, that's where basically your mind taking control whatever that you want to solve, you want to draw that, right? That's when basically you going to miss out your kind of learning experience here. When you start to study those subject matters back again. What I try to do right now, okay, every single details when I want to draw, I'm trusting my eyes and draw carefully there, right? And I didn't press too much when I draw there right here. Can you see the quality of line that we try to achieve from these drawings over here without tracing them there, right? But I'm using my eyes to trace them back. I never worried about how many, I don't have to count how many hair in his armpit there, right? Those are the things that I don't have any kind of what we call that responsible to figure it out there, right? I just only know, All right, his armpit. Okay, the shapes of the armpit with the shadows are going to be look like this. The shapes only there. We use this kind of understanding using those kind of element of design there to develop kind of. I didn't worry about, okay, oh, this part are going to be a circle, right? And then I'm going to draw the cylinders. I didn't think about that kind of shapes when I want to draw. But I will combine them later on when I actually have that kind of understanding there. Right? When I start to develop that kind of knowledge there. But at the moments when you start to develop your foundations of your hands when you draw there, right? Foundations there, right? You're not trying to worry about all those kind of stuff yet. You don't have to worry there. But what you should do, right, just to study as close as you can. Even though you make mistakes during the process, it's okay. But you improve them from one step at a time. Okay? Even though you need to repeat, but this is the thing that people always do there when they draw that, right? They keep repeating like the line like this. I don't know why. When you enjoy yourself to repeat your line like this, that means you draw using your mind. Because your mind look at these kind of lines, not your eyes. I don't believe people will look at things like this when they draw that, right? Ridiculous, that, right? Only your mind are going to say, oh, I want to draw like this because this show a bit kind of contour line or continuous line. Bullshit, that, right? It's not. Right? It's not there, right? When you draw the contour line there, right? Even though you want to repeat a little bit, sometimes you can actually improve it more further. You draw the shadows there and highlight a bit there. Right? You not actually repeat your line like this one. They become a bit more hard, more stiff to your drawings. At the same time, you out focus on your proportion at the same time during the process of understanding. That's why some of the legs become look more like hockey stick there, right? When you draw, even though those hands, same thing. Because you don't actually watch carefully what you draw. You never there, right? Okay, you're just assuming what you saw with your mind, and then you try to figure it out by manipulate those shapes inside your mind and draw them back using your hands by not looking carefully back again to your reference. That's basically the thing that you saw there, right? Because all this kind of foundation exercise, if you not build up that kind of habits and routine, the new habits and new routine there, right? When it comes to develop this exercise, okay, for this week, for example, I just say that you start to develop this kind of understanding, even though you want to draw any kind of subject matters like this one, right? Okay. Yes. It's okay. Schwen, right? I also have difficulty on the line just now, right? Okay, thank you. Group 6, all attended class, thank you. Okay. All this reference that you saw there, okay, is a technical kind of reference. We're not going to give you a more kind of inside understanding if you don't start to improve your drawing skills there. Okay, remember what I told some of the lessons, okay, that I actually gave for last week. Okay, this is something that people always do. This is very technical there, guys. Technical there, right? Okay. It's not all about drawings from those understanding on those reference there first. This is more technical, that develop that kind of imaginations there. Combine your imaginations and your understanding on those kind of shapes, develop any kind of characters there, okay? So when we want to draw any kind of poses, gesture poses, okay, think about the tail of those shoulders and also those hips there, right? And the line of actions. Okay? Line of actions there, right? That give the flexibility on the poses and actions there, okay? On the poses of the characters there, okay? Right? The hips and the shoulders there, where you're going to add those kind of poses there, right? Okay, those are the things that we have to figure it out when we draw, right? If you look at this kind of reference there, all this kind of technical stuff before you're going to draw the figures there, right? Okay, we're not going to be handy for you guys if you don't develop that kind of right kind of way of drawing here, the shape itself there, right? And then this is basically the center point of those kind of faces, and normally we are going to cut over the shapes over here there, right? And if you check, look how actually I draw them. This is a bit kind of advanced, but because I just want to give you guys some example, okay? All the circle that we developed just now were only a guidance, okay, before you're going to cut them. Okay, there's a lot of way actually we're going to work, so okay, this is going to be the nose, if you want to study manga a bit, right? Okay, and mouth there, and another curved line a bit kind of higher a bit are going to be those eyes there, okay? So the eyes basically, okay, if the normal kind of position of human eyes, okay, the measurement between one left and the right are going to be another shapes of the eyes right here. That's a normal kind of human kind of measurement that we're going to go through later on there, okay? And of course, okay, we draw the shapes of the eyes there, okay? All this kind of technical stuff, okay, that we can actually go through later on, okay? Basically, are not going to be handy for some of you guys who just wanna be a manga character designers there, right? Because they don't understand about those kind of controlling the structures first and also understand about the shape at the same time there. You won't be able to get a very good kind of drawings if you still draw like this. Or you start to draw like this, right? Won't be able to get a very good kind of drawings there, or character design, whatever that you're going to draw, if you cannot control basically the structures there. All right, the structures there, right? That kind of things that we have to go through first. Okay, we have to go through first. All right, take a look type of what we call that strokes here. This is also very important, okay? Types of drawing stroke first, right? First of all, okay, go through back again, okay? The shading techniques or stroke techniques, right? Okay? Because all these kind of methods, even though look simple there, guys, but they were not going to be that kind of simple if we don't practice in the right way. Okay, when using those kind of pencils, okay, because I can use this one, because one of the things we have the advantages there, okay, advantages there, right? I have to, we will go through with this one when we come to more intensive figure drawings there, okay, guys, before we're going to do our first project. Okay, if you used the new version of Photoshop, I can recommend you guys to use Ultimate Pencil Art, okay? Ultimate Pencil Art, okay? When I use these old versions like this Photoshop 7, I don't have this pencil art there, okay? The one that I always use basically, maybe I'm going to show you guys later. Rough round bristles brush, and I can forget about those are 3 brushes that I use. Wet sponges, rough round bristle brush, and the other one I can't remember the right. Okay, there's 3 brushes that I always use for my professional works, and I didn't use basically a lot of fancy brushes except some drip and splat that I get to add some textures there. But that kind of 3 brushes, why I actually use them? Because they have the sense of similarities with those traditional kind of drawings there. Okay, traditional kind of drawings there, right? When I actually look at most of your submissions, this is something that I want to give you guys some exercise, ongoing exercise for this week. Okay, thank you very much, guys, because most of you guys, hopefully you guys were really genuine with your kind of what we call that comment on those or on my kind of efforts to give you guys some sort of like comment on your works there, right? I really appreciate it. But as I actually told you guys, some of you guys, most of you guys, don't tag me basically too much, because we are going to have a hell of exercise from now on there, right? Okay, but even though we're going to do some intensively, because I don't want you guys to, oh sir, well, today we have to develop basically 10 drawings or 20 drawings. No, right? Okay, we're going to go because lecture class, I'm going to explain a bit kind of briefly first, okay, what you're going to go through there, okay, and when practical class, I mean, we are going to go through a bit more intense, right? A bit kind of intense, okay. But the things that we're going to practice for this week, okay. Anyone want to draw this one? Go ahead, right? Okay? I don't want to complete that right first, because no matter what you're going to do there, okay. For example, here, you're going to control basically your pressure line first. You won't be able to get it right. Okay. So let me check over here. Okay, we can give this kind of what we call that reference as a reference here. Cross etching, normal strokes, but control pressure kind of strokes, circular shadings, and also dodge. This is basically what you can do using your pencils, but at the same times you can use tablets. That's why I love basically use this tablet there, okay, because I can imitate all these kind of drawing techniques all over again. Whatever that I cannot use, the guys, okay, as I mentioned to you guys before, when I use these tablets, comparing to what I actually have done basically using those traditional media before that, when I start to work with tablets, a lot of things that I cannot achieve, okay, when I want to draw traditionally there, okay, like mixed up all paint and also acrylic combined with charcoal, combined with Ponte, pencil, color pencil, sometimes quite hard like, to combine everything, right, watercolor at the same time there, okay, because of the medium itself there, right. I can actually achieve them when I start to use digitals. So set in your mind from now on, each of you guys, even though some of you guys quite introvert to ask me questions, shy a little bit there, okay, or maybe you say, I don't like that, Mr. Faisal there, okay, I will do my own way there, okay, it's okay, because whatever that you're going to do, whatever that you think that possible for you to develop from here, whether with or without my supervision or kind of what we call the lessons, they will give a very strong impact on your developments later on. All right. But if you seems want to follow and ask me more questions to understand more, to share with me, I love basically when students say, how about this one? So how about this one, sir? Okay, can we actually develop? Okay, how actually we develop here? I love that, right? That will give me more kind of engaging kind of way to share with you guys. Oh, if I saw your drawings, for example, that you're not in that kind of levels yet, that you have to do there, okay, because of maybe, okay, when you start to say, okay, can you draw a simple kind of hands, for example, using this kind of strokes, you still draw like this, for example, right? You cannot actually apply basically this kind of strokes here. All right, see the difference there, right? For example, right here. So I would say, okay, why don't you practice this one there first? Why don't you practice this one there first specifically before you're going to do this one? Really important that works. Okay? But today, okay, by using your pencils, right? Of course, when using pencils, they have different kind of strokes that works. But using those tablet, you want to test, and anyone who have the tablet again, normal kind of strokes there, right? Not this one, huh? Normal kind of stroke there. Control. Can you see from here, right? I don't know whether you can get from here. Let me check that first. Okay. Oops. Okay, when you saw the, okay, how actually I move my hands over here, okay, to get the strokes that I want for the normal kind of drawing strokes over here. You guys can see that, right, from those screen. Okay. For some of you guys over here, you guys can see my hand there, right? Not my arms are, right, okay? I trained a few days before the right. This one, the right, the hands over here, the hands, the right. Okay, when you draw. Okay, we try to move around those what we call that, those wrists all together, the right way to draw. This one, right. Right. This is the thing that you can do using your pencils there, first, because you're going to do the same thing using your tablet there, guys. Whatever that we're going to go through from here next week's until the end of the semesters, whatever that you're going to apply, if you make a lot of flawless mistakes using your pencil traditionally, you will do the same thing basically using the tablets there. All right, control there, okay? Okay, this is basically the brushes, okay, that I actually have to give you guys example there. Name of the brush there, okay? Carl Ultimate Pencil Hot. Right, I recommend you guys to use this one there. This is one of the standard brush from dry media brushes that we can get using those Photoshop, okay, the new one there, okay? But if you sim doesn't have, for example, oh, I don't have to, right? Find someone similar there, okay? Carl Pencils Hot there, right? I'm using this kind of brushes since I think 2-3 years back there, right? Because before that times I didn't install these 2017 kind of versions there. I didn't use those kind of advanced. Like I rarely basically update my what we call that, brushes there, or my applications there. A lot of people, some of my friends, most of my friends basically, okay, they love basically update all this kind of new stuff basically, okay. I quite very conventional a bit, okay. Not because I don't like the new things, like I developed the kind of skills of 3D in times that also at the same time, okay. But for me, if I'm going to chase a lot of all new stuff, it doesn't make any money on the process. There's no point. Simple as that, right? we use new things because sometimes it will give more effective and efficient kind of progress on our works there. That's why we use them. Not to make our quality of work become a bit more outdated there, right? Remember that. We use technology to make it more different, efficient, like, on our process of working. If there is nothing changes that people use old version can do better than your new versions, there's no point. And sometimes I just want to remind you guys, more new versions, they're going to be updates. They're going to require a lot of space, graphic card on your system there. Okay, so remember that you put, for example, V8 or Ferrari kind of engine into Kancil, for example, there, right? They require more kind of space, right? More kind of power, at the same time, more kind of balance, and all these kind of things are going to be, have to be modified altogether there, okay? So it takes money, effort, and times to change that. Same goes to what you do right now. So for all of you guys for today, by using pencils there, okay, I want you guys to try to control your pressures like this one at first, right? Try to get this kind of pressures there, right? How to use pencil there, right? Use pencil there, right? Either you can use this kind of methods or this kind of methods there to control the pressures there. Yes. Okay. Using your hands, using those, what we call that, raise on those tablets, just control the pressures like this one. Okay. I didn't change any flows. Okay, some people, okay, because I think some of you guys, they has a difficulty on the setting there, right? But as far as I actually have used this all version of Photoshops, if there is no kind of technical kind of errors or issues, right? Okay, I never change basically the standard of the setting there. Okay, I still maintain the standard of the setting, but sometimes I'm going to change the flows over here. Okay, the flows there. But at the moment, I don't have to directly to change the flow there. Right? Maybe I'm going to change the size. Size from 10 point, I change because they're going to give also a lot of different kind of effects on those drawings there. Okay, when you draw them. See, if you use more bigger kind of size, they're going to have a different kind of effect there, right? Okay, for example, if you want to draw circle or shadings there, right? Okay, using this kind of drawings, okay, you need this one there, right? See, circling around there, right? Circling around there, right? But don't press too much. The size matter there, guys. Okay, the size are going to be affected your methods of drawings there. See, it's very interesting, guys. Okay, that's what I say. Okay, digital medias, digital tools were meant to develop a good kind of quality of your drawing. Even though you say, I'm not good at drawing, sir, there, okay, I really doesn't know how to work. Okay, my drawing is suck or whatever there, okay. Normally, when we use digitals, they're supposed to make your drawing look more better there, right? Okay. This one is circling around there, okay. Change the size. I'm using basically closed cap and open cap to change the size there, right? Efficiently there, okay. The shadings, dot shadings, maybe dot shading, maybe they're going to put like this one, okay. We tap a bit. I use a lot of these tap kind of techniques there, okay, just to give a bit kind of volume of tone using my kind of shadings there, okay. Change the size a bit, and then I'm going to tap there, okay. Because when your tablets don't have any problem with the pressure kind of strokes and pressure kind of point there, right? You can tap slowly there, okay. Don't tap too hard. Okay, you're going to drop the tip there, okay. You're going to spoil the tip there, okay. Tap a little bit like here. Okay, all these kind of techniques, okay, like cross etching, for example. Cross etchings. Okay. one strokes, for example, like this one already, 10 point there, right? And then you want to add a bit more shadings there, okay, more volume of tone, you can actually cross over there, right? Cross over a little bit. Let's practice this kind of methods there first. On your papers, how to work with it, right? Can you see again? A similar kind of look and feel we can get on that. I want to show you guys back again what basically the result there, the result from here. For example, later on, you use the same kind of what we call that brushes here, but if I want to draw back again, using the same brushes, which is the pencil there, right? When I draw, take a look here, right? Okay. This is basically okay. If you, some people say, okay, so I want to have an advanced technique, okay, how to draw more faster, more quicker way there, okay. This is one of the quickest way to design illustrations. But without your proper kind of understanding how to control the pressures there, because in illustrations there, guys, especially in multimedia there, okay, even though in graphic design there, right? In these modern days, I'm not saying, okay, some people say, okay, hey, why you actually teach the student how to trace? I didn't teach student only how to trace, but I'm using the technique how to develop their kind of understanding there by using the methods that we have, the technical kind of ability that we have in the computers there. But they still require skills. Just like you want to become a thief there, right? Okay, don't become a thief, right? But you want to become a hacker, for example, right? Okay, if you don't have the skills there, okay, to develop the code in the right way, how come you actually become a hacker, right? Same goes to you. If you don't have the skill to develop and control the right kind of brushes, we're going to draw the hair line using a very simple methods like this. One brush only there. Okay? I didn't use any fancy of brush there to work there. Right? Then I start to draw basically those ears, shadows line. And now basically the eyebrows. When people doesn't have that kind of ability to control the pressures in the right way, they start to assuming the shapes there, right? That's why you cannot make it right. So can you share the pen tool type you use it? I'm using this one there, Amber there, right? Carl Ultimate brushes there. Carl Ultimate pencils, sorry there, right? Okay. Carl Ultimate pencils over here. Okay. Can you see that, Amber? Carl Ultimate pencils there. Right? Let me bring screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Want to download it.
Or download. You don't have that, right?
Yes.
In your brushes, can you? What version that you use?
2021.
21. Can you look at the dry media folders?
Okay.
Right. Before you're going to download them, right? Because normally they have inside those brushes there. But if you want to use all these brushes, make sure you install the driver for your tablet there, right? For some reason, sometimes, if you don't basically have the tablets, you don't install the driver, the tablet yet, the brush won't appear there. Right? It will be going to be activate while basically you are going to install the drivers there. Normally there, okay. For example, okay, this one, okay, see when I actually control the brushes well on the shadows here, we're not tracing the guys, all right, but we draw on top of it back again. This is basically one of the methods that I gave the students some alternative way there, okay, in order for them to learn to develop their understanding there, but at the same time learn to control the pressure at the same time there, right? using the traditional medias here. Press a little bit by control to add the shadows there. If these techniques were going to be a very good advantage for those who really can draw well, but those who cannot draw, they will give a bit kind of advantage for you guys to understand a bit more further how to not learn quite quick, but if you don't actually practice your kind of pressure kind of hands, right, to control those pressures at the same time, okay, it won't be able to help you guys do anything there, right? That's why the contour line drawings exercise that I actually have shown you guys previously, okay, what we call it in the earlier there, okay, basically will help you guys to develop that kind of senses of understanding that first. Okay, take a look at it, guys. The results from those drawings that look like similar to the traditional methods there, okay, but of course you want to make it more higher kind of quality, you have to increase a bit on the resolution at the same time. Can you see the effect there, okay? The effect of this kind of drawings, this kind of samples, give that kind of quality that we want. Okay? And look a little bit kind of more closest to what we want to achieve there, okay? Even though there's a lot of different brushes that you guys can use there, okay, to work, okay, from time to time there, okay? But if you go back into the fundamental of working right here, okay, these brushes basically will give you kind of advantage there, okay? I'm using all this kind of, I try to do this kind of shadings, strokes there, right, okay? Using the shape itself there, right? And change the size same times. All the hard works, all the understanding, all the developments and ideas that you've been developed, okay, for last 2 weeks basically, okay? Doing it to give you guys some challenge over here. It looks quite easy there, guys, okay? It looks like you just draw from on the surface there, right, okay? But what if I want to combine them there, okay? Using my drawing strokes over here. At the same time there, some etching there, right? Cross etching there. The line there, okay, that I try to develop from here. The more that I press, the more I can add some of the details here. See the line works that I try to draw over here. Basically, I'm combining all these kind of 4 drawings techniques in one single, what we call that, drawing here, or illustrations there, right? If you don't have that kind of understanding, you won't be able to get it right. You still will make a lot of mistakes from here. That's why don't actually look all the methods that we try to draw, we want to develop, right, as a part of those not important there. Right? Because all the process that we try to achieve, we try to develop the ranking is really important from now on. Don't look aside or take for granted what you guys have been working on here. Oh, this one is to look more easy, no, just relax, try to enjoy a little bit more on the ride. At the same time, focus and concentrate all the things that you're going to experience over here. Press a little bit and control the pressures there. When you draw the outline, they have the quality of line that we want basically, right, to draw. We not just simply draw the outline there, okay, as an outline only there, okay, but we draw the shape and the structures at the same time. Because in illustration, to develop an illustration is kind of what we call that skills. For some people who actually can draw well, they have the good advantage to develop a more kind of understanding with this exercise of here, right? The drawing will become a bit more impressive, right, from what they actually have taught before using the traditional way there. But for those who actually still need to learn a few number kind of what we call that, a lot of what we call that exercise based on this one there, right? Based on the process of developing those kind of understanding there, right? Don't too excited just to trace them there without learning carefully how to develop basically that kind of understanding of, without talking about light and shadows yet, but I just want to give you guys some examples like in this session there, okay? What are the things that make possible for you to develop your skill in illustrations, even though you're not that good at drawings there traditionally, okay? Conventionally there, okay? But you can actually develop that kind of learning experience, curve learning experience, and understanding there, right? By taking advantage on the tools and the technologies at the same time, right? From the medium that you're going to use here, the tool that you're going to use here, right? I kind of like love to combine and develop different kind of strokes there, okay? Because when you mix all these 4 different kind of line and drawing and strokes there, right, they give a lot of different kind of infections there, right? Okay, qualities, okay, on your works at the same time there, right? When people doesn't have that understanding, they will draw like this. Those who draw like this one are going to be failed. Simple as that. Because you don't actually practice. Okay, when you look at my hands when I draw, okay, I draw one step at a time, but I didn't draw like this. I didn't move my hand like this, right? One stroke at a time there, right? And I draw carefully there, okay, to see the difference there from each kind of structures and shapes there when I draw. So you have that reference that you want to draw. See, when I draw this kind of crumple of those kind of what we call that is pants there, right? Is tight pants there, right? See the way I move my hands there when I draw here. Using the sketch line of strokes to draw them and press the control basically the pressures directly at the same time there. That's basically the art of it there, right? Okay? The quality of those drawings that we want to achieve over here. Shadows, change the size a bit and try to control basically the pressure at the same time. We try to imitate basically back again the traditional methods that you seems to work with those pencils, but right now you combine them all together. See? That's basically one of the beauty of those drawings there, right? Of those tablets when you use them. Right? Okay. Yes, come on here. But I don't see it used often. That's right. Because a lot of people basically just be amazed from the results of those digitals only, because you've seen a lot of people who actually use digitals. They kind of like using artificially there, okay? They have a bit kind of like a computer kind of looks there, okay? But for me there, okay, the conventional and traditional kind of methods, if you apply them back, in your drawings, right, in your illustration, in your digital kind of work, they give more impact, right? They give more kind of value, okay, of your results there, right? Because you guys can see from any kind of animated movie nowadays, they kind of combine all these traditional, conventional kind of styles into digital kind of eras nowadays, because people may be a little bit kind of tired or look at everything a little more sleek, even though there's a time basically we want to have different kind of looks that, okay, in our presentations there. So that's what I say, don't limit yourself there, okay? Don't give yourself a border between your creations, okay, all the time. Okay, I just like this one, I don't like this one, right? I want to have this one only because this look nice, because I love this animations or whatever characters, okay? You have to remember one thing: our tastes, our interests are going to be changed in time there, okay? So don't limit yourself there. But basically what I actually have shown you guys today is one of the way you guys can imitate back again whatever that you seems to have difficulty in traditional methods to work with digitals in the futures there. A lot of people doesn't realize them, but I really felt a bit kind of a quite kind of very positive kind of energy for you guys, with you guys, okay? Because I see not all of you guys, but most of you guys have given me a lot of response, share a lot of your developments, even though most of you guys seems to have a lot of difficulty to develop that kind of understanding, right? Okay, but that's a process, okay? Don't worry, okay? Whatever that you seems to develop last week's, don't close the book yet, there, right? Okay, because this is basically what we're going to head into. This is what are we going to head into there, guys, for your projects, for your all these street projects, and in the future kind of what we call the subjects that we call digital illustrations later on. Okay, because if we don't develop that kind of skill from now on, slowly, intensively, progressively, there, right? Okay, you won't be able to have that kind of chances to value back again your potentials there, because everyone have their own kind of potential to develop themselves, to grow themselves in illustration and design. But what I actually have shared with you guys is one of the foundation and fundamental to develop your skills back again. Your skills back again there, right? Okay, to see different way to approach your works in the future, right? We never know what kind of work that you're going to develop there, right? But if you build up the strong foundation right here, traditional, a bit, and digital, okay, in the long run, I believe that you can do better than what I've done for my entire life. Okay, you can do more better. Right? You can actually find different kind of solutions that I might be going to be learned also from you. We never know that, right? So that's the things there. So that communities we have to bring, or we have to create from time to time. All right? Because we can learn from each other in the futures. We never know that, right? Okay, but this is basically to develop your strong core foundations there. People don't realize them, guys, because I've developed your kind of module for these semesters based on the experience and some of the things that I find not quite very effective for the students. So I will go into deep, but not too deep, right? Not too deep, right? Okay, on the technical side and also the fundamental kind of side at the same time, right? Okay, but I agree, 14 weeks is not enough. Hopefully next semester we get to enhance a bit more further. But well, my kind of what we call that hopes there, okay, if you cannot actually develop 100% of your skills, but if all of you guys, 99.9% for example there, okay, can draw something like this, even though you use reference, they will be more better, right? They will see a lot of hopes and progress, a good progress for each one of you guys in the future there. All right, quality of line, pressure line control. How many of you guys who haven't got those tablets yet? Oh. How many there, guys? 4 students. All right. 3. On the way. Okay, good. Don't worry there, guys. Okay, for today, before we're going to go through the update on the exercise, still not shipping. Okay, it's okay. This doesn't have get. Okay, don't worry there. All right, I want you guys to do those exercises using your pencils there first. Simple exercise, guys. So later on, okay, I'm going to upload those videos, okay, on how to shading using those pencils there first. Pencils there first. Of course, when you use those tablets, they're going to be different, okay, because when you use pencil, when to get this kind of shadings, you have to hold the pencils like this. Even though you can hold the pencil like this, but the movement are going to be a bit, and the pressures are going to be different, right? But you can feel, okay, you have to develop a kind of chemistry between your hands. You have to feel that, okay, in your blood when you move there, right? Because this kind of feeling of movements, the art of movement that you develop there, okay, the person who actually did those movements will felt that kind of flow, smooth kind of way of working there, right? Just like you will learn Tai Chi there, right? You have that kind of movements, right? That flows there, and they will affect also your mind. And the most important thing is your heart. If you feel good about those movements when you draw, you feel relaxed, even though you don't draw any kind of specific subject matters, right? Okay. If you start to felt basically that kind of engaging kind of movements, right? Okay? You start to feel that inside yourself. That's basically is one of the process that you have basically passed basically that kind of process, right? Okay? You start to feel good about it, not short scenery, okay? Not actually feel good that you only feel good but no one see that, okay? There's nothing has in the result doesn't look good there, okay? Not right. Okay? The result will get come out together also during the process. Okay? You feel good when you look at it, and people start to see, oh, yeah, I see the progress from there. Okay, just like some of you guys when they start to draw those gestures line, and I give the comment, oh, you start to making good at it. Don't change that from that kind of habits there. A lot of people they begin to develop a good kind of way of working in one drawing or two. The third drawing and 4, they start to develop the old habits. That's the problem normally. Okay, people they feel excited maybe, and then when they start to draw the new things, they start to go into their old habits. When you start to go to the old habits, that's where you make those mistakes back again. You repeat back again those kind of mistakes there. Keep on doing it and focus there. Okay, oh, this is a thing. You will felt basically that kind of progress on yourself there, right? By using those tablets, and of course, you have to hold like this one there, okay? There's no chance you actually can change the position there, okay? But control basically your wrist when you move, all right? So take care also all your hands and your wrist at the same time, okay? Because if you injured or you fall down, whatever there, okay, it's really hard for you to draw unless you can use both hands when you want to draw there, right? Okay, guys, please check basically later on the updates on those exercise, okay, for this week. But at the moment, don't worry too much there, okay? Practice first this kind of shadings there first, okay? Because whatever that you're going to do in any different kind of brushes, even though you're going to use the one of the brushes that I used before, okay, this inking brushes there, right? This inking brushes there. If I use 8 point, see, because ink brushes, you can add extra details. I didn't use any kind of, there's a lot of what we call that downloadable kind of what we call that hair brushes, right? But I didn't use them, right? Okay, but I'm using the default brushes to add some of the details of my drawings there, right? Just to add a bit more details there, even though this one there, right? Press a little bit, right? According to those. Okay. You can zoom a bit if you want to. Lah. Controlling the pressure is really important there, guys. Why? Because if you don't learn to control them, that's why your drawing looks sucks there, right? Simple as that. Right. That's why your drawing looks sucks there, okay? Because you don't learn to control the pressures well, right? So that's why the volumes, the values of those drawings, it doesn't match basically what you want to have inside your mind there. Because your hands doesn't follow basically the line, the pressures that you need to develop from there. Okay? We don't press too much, right? Okay? Relax a bit, right? To draw, to work on that. Okay? So hopefully you guys can gain something from here. All right. Size that we change will matter there, okay? Including the pressures, line, and stroke at the same time there, right? Okay? So I see you guys basically for the next practical class, okay? Group 5, we're going to see each other later on, okay? And thank you very much for having me today, guys, okay? And thank you also for your commitments. We have 126 students who actually have complete, but the rest of you guys, I'm still waiting. You guys know who you are, okay? So don't delay those exercises, okay? Whatever that you guys been go through, it's okay, okay? Go through first, submit that first, then hopefully later on when you start to develop different kind of exercise, you can go back into your kind of submissions for your 3rd week or 2nd week there, okay? To submit back again, or you want to add a bit more on your exercise from there, because I'm going to evaluate based on your commitments other than your submissions there, okay? You do it more from what I've been requested formally from this brief, and you give the quality of books, of course, you will gain good kind of recommendation on the marks from there. Simple as that, right? We have that kind of what we call that rubrics there, okay? But all those rubrics is a guide for us, even for us know our limitations, our restrictions, at the same time to make sure that you understand, oh, if you do all these kind of things without my supervisions or acknowledge me there, okay? Of course, I thought, oh, maybe the student, maybe they're just they actually satisfied with it, so we just go through with it lah. We don't have to go to. But if you say, sir, I already submit, but can I submit more because I felt responsibility on my kind of skills there, because I want to have more from there. I want to give more kind of show on my potential from there, okay? So hopefully I can basically, for example, so can basically give more acknowledge and add a bit more on marks from there. If I saw the value from that kind of extra submissions, I will give them. But if I don't have saw any value from there, it looks the same thing. There's no point also for you to submit extra kind of works, right? So the qualities come with the quantity. Okay? If quantity doesn't come with the qualities, how come we can value from there, right? Okay. So remember, guys, okay, a simple things there, simple thread there, right? A simple treat on that, simple treat on the evaluations there. Unless the final works there, okay, we cannot do anything after week 13 there, okay. So whatever that you produce, that's it. The only thing that I can actually acknowledge you guys, okay, who actually haven't submitted yet, this is the last date, for example, okay. Otherwise, I'm going to give the marks and nothing changed from there. All right, simple is kind of treat it, guys, okay? So as a student, teenagers, and adults, you should think a bit more wisely and matured enough to be committed on your works at the same times, okay? So if you don't have anything there, guys, okay? So hopefully some of you guys will get those tablets, okay, on next week's. And for this week, we still can work with those traditional methods there. Don't worry about that. And I will give you some basics kind of exercise only there, okay, to add some shadings, structures, simple kind of form there first to draw there, okay, for this week there, okay, using the combination of the strokes, using the combination kind of strokes, guys. All right. So thank you, guys, for your commitments and also for your attending okay, on the classes. I see you guys later on. All right. And take care, you guys. At the same time, I see group 5 and group 1 right, okay, after this, right? Okay. So have a good day and also have a good lunch at the same time, guys. Okay. Bye. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Welcome.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, guys.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome there. So I'm going to close this group, okay? Because these groups basically I meant for those there. Okay, thank you very much, guys, everyone. Okay, take care, you guys. Okay, also there, right? All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yeah. So so for the pen, right, if it is like this, it's like how to say that?
Oh, this one is a pencil, right? Using pencil, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Pencils, okay. If you sharpen your pencil really well, all right? Okay, wait up, huh?
okay.
If you sharpen your pencil really well, there, okay, you can actually use either